and included risks of low blood pressure, heart attack, and anemia. The notice added that abusers of nitrous oxide gas are also prone to the risk of suffocating and loss of consciousness. The FDA said its attention had been drawn to the abuse or misuse of nitrous oxide gas at nightclubs and parties in the forms of balloons and canisters to induce euphoria and laughter. It also admonished nightclubs, pubs, and party organizers to desist from the inappropriate use of laughing gas at their facilities and events. The notice added long-term recreational use or abuse of nitrous oxide gas could also compromise the immune system, mental and neurological disorders, depression, and incontinence. The FDA urged the public to promptly report to the authority on the abuse of nitrous oxide gas, stressing that it is collaborating with other relevant stakeholder agencies to address the emerging safety concerns. In the meantime, the FDA assures the public of its commitment to ensuring public health and safety through continuous public education, engagement, and sensitization of the public on the risks of the substances of abuse. Nitrous oxide is a colorless gas which was discovered by an Englishman, Joseph Priestley, in 1772. It was popularized as an anesthetic in medicine and an intoxicant at upper-class parties in the late Georgian era, and people have used it both medically and recreationally ever since. Nitrous oxide has become an increasingly popular recreational drug at festivals, nightclubs, and parties. Used to induce laughter and hallucinations, the gas is not illegal to possess and can be purchased online in the small silver canisters known as whippets. In the Netherlands, the Dutch government has decided to ban nitrous oxide, popularly known as laughing gas, from January this year. This comes amid growing concerns over the risks it poses to health and road safety. Since 2016, it had been classed as a psychoactive substance in the United Kingdom under the Psychoactive Substances Act 2016, which makes it illegal to supply for human consumption but legal to possess for personal use. Despite this, it's still easily available to buy. The former Home Secretary, Priti Patel, pledged to take tough action on nitrous oxide abusers in 2021 and considered criminalizing personal possession. It is estimated that around 700,000 people use laughing gas each year in the United Kingdom, according to a British Medical Journal report published in September 2022. An Accra High Court has ordered Alex Mould and Gavivina Tamaklo, the two people who stood surety for Sedinam Tamaklo Ationu, the former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Masslock, to pay a bail bond of 5 million Ghana cedis to the state. The two sureties are essentially forfeiting the bail bond to the Republic because Tamaklo Ationu has remained in the United States of America for the past 16 months after she was granted permission by the court to travel on medical grounds. Lawyers for the accused, led by Enoch Michael Kofi Jakpasu, have been telling the court for the past 16 months that their client is still unwell and in the U.S. The court indulged them and adjourned sitting on multiple occasions to allow the sureties to produce the accused for trial, but to no avail. In court on Tuesday, Justice Ifiasewa Sariboche stated in a ruling that the court had taken a close look at a letter filed by lawyers of the accused person emanating from a doctor in the United States, but there is nothing in the letter saying she is incapable of traveling or she's not fit to stand trial. The judge said, it appears this is a case of someone who has chosen to stay in the U.S. for some medical tourism reasons, adding that the entire 16-month delay or more is more than enough time given. The judge subsequently ordered in a ruling that the bail bond be forfeited to the Republic. The state had applied for the trial to proceed in absentia, that is, in the absence of the first accused. However, the presiding judge said she will not be invited yet to determine that application because she wants to give the lawyer of the first accused the opportunity to file a response to the application filed by the state. Justice Ifiasewa Sariboche adjourned the court sitting to the 7th of February 2023 to allow the defense lawyers to file their affidavits in this regard. Sedinam Tamaklo Ationu, the first accused, and Daniel Axim, the second accused, a former operations manager of Masslock, face court charges relating to the accusations of stealing and causing financial loss to the state to the tune of 93 million Ghana cedis, among other offences. Together, the two face 78 charges, including conspiracy to steal, stealing, unauthorized commitment resulting in a financial obligation for the government, improper payment, money laundering, and contravention of the Public Procurement Act. They allegedly stole 3,198,280 Ghana cedis in total while at Masslock, and willfully caused a financial loss worth 1,973,780 Ghana cedis to the state. Also, while in charge of Masslock, Ms. Tamaklo Ationu and her accomplice allegedly made commitments resulting in the financial obligations for the government to the tune of 61,735,832 cedis, 50 pesos. Further charges against the two include a loss of 22,158,118 cedis, 85 pesos to public property, and the improper payment of 273,743 cedis, 66 pesos, as well as money laundering of 3,704,380 Ghana cedis, all while in charge of Masslock.
State prosecutors have pressed 70 fresh charges against Alhaji Collins Dauda, the former Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing, and 4 others for costs and financial loss to the state over the Saglemi Affordable Housing Project. The latest charge sheet is replacing the previous 52 charges pressed against them in July 2021. Alhaji Collins Dauda, together with Dr. Agyapong Mensah, a former Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing, Agyapong, Chief Director of the Ministry for Works and Housing, contributed to the Saglemi housing deal when it was prepared and signed. Also playing parts is businessman Andrew Kolkanis, Executive Chairman of Constructura OAS Ghana Limited, and Novi Tete Angelo, Chief Executive Officer and Owner of Ridge Management Solutions Ghana Limited. In court on Tuesday, January 24, Hilda Craig, a principal state attorney, told the Criminal Division of the Accra High Court that they have filed fresh charges on Tuesday morning. When the court presided over by Justice Elfrida Denchi said the court does not have a copy, the state prosecutor said it was filed in the morning. While Alhaji Collins Dauda and 3 others were present, Alhaji Zablim Yakutia, the third accused, was absent and was said to be unwell per the medical report to the court. Their pleas were not taken due to the absence of the third accused, and Justice Elfrida Denchi adjourned the case to February 24 for their pleas to be taken. The court has also directed that should the third accused be unable to make it to the court, a video link should be made available for his plea to be taken from his base in Tamale. Alhaji Collins Dauda, who doubles as the NDC MP for Isutifi South in the Hafo region, and 4 others have been named by the state in the $200 million Saglemi housing project scandal.
The lack of effective supervision, monitoring and evaluation on the part of chief executive officers and heads of finance of specified entities are among the major causes of infractions and irregularities flagged in the 2021 Auditor General's report. This was disclosed when the Director General of the State Interests and Governance Authority, SIGA, Mr. Edward Boatin, presented the joint report on the 2021 audit infractions by SIGA and the Ghana Audit Service to the Chief of Staff, Akufo-Addo Opare, at the authority's office premises in Accra. The presentation follows President Akufo-Addo's meeting of board chairpersons and CEOs of specified entities on October 3, 2022, where he charged SIGA and Auditor General to investigate the causes of infractions of specified entities cited in the 2021 Auditor's report and to make recommendations as prescribed by law. The Director General of SIGA at the presentation charged the heads of specified entities to effect the report's recommendations to achieve the President's vision of specified entities contributing significantly to Ghana's GDP. Mr. Edward Boateng said the committee identified 6 key issues during its investigations.
The committee's work revealed the following. 1. Lack of effective supervision, monitoring, and evaluation on the part of CEOs, heads of finance, and others in many instances. We realized that what we like to term schoolboy mistakes or class 1 mistakes were because a lot of the CEOs just don't pay attention to the Auditor General when they enter their premises. The second, which Mr. Mante will talk about, are procurement irregularities. I think sometimes in the haste to get to the end goal, sometimes people just don't follow due process. Then also we realized there was misapplication and misappropriation of funds in some instances, and some of these defaulters have been named in our report for the appropriate sanctions to be taken against them. Then there's also the issue of risk management, and that's something that we believe that you have to bring to the attention of government, that people who are put in these positions should understand the results of their action and inactions, because sometimes they just don't understand anything about risk at all. Then there is also the other key issue, which is just lack of collaboration with auditors. We realized that during our work that there were some of these CEOs who came to us and for the first time they were reading their own audit reports. So we asked them what happened during the exit interviews. They didn't take it seriously. Then the other issue also is the late or sometimes non-release of subventions, which means that a lot of these entities are really operating on very tight funds, and sometimes when they are in that situation, they take decisions which later on bring them into trouble. So these are the 6 key issues that co-chairs, we, the committee, have stated.
The committee made some recommendations which included persons who are appointed to higher positions in the public sector should undergo compulsory training on the Public Financial Management Act and the Public Procurement Act, among other recommendations. It also urged board chairpersons and governing boards of those entities to thoroughly implement the audit findings and correct the wrongs.
I also like to make the following recommendations. 1. People who are appointed to such high positions should have training on the Public Financial Management Act, Act 216 and Act 921 and its regulations, and also the Public Procurement Act. I think it should be compulsory because a lot of them just haven't read the Act, or they don't know the Act, or they choose not to know. So there's a lot of I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Then also this goes to the board chairpersons and the governing boards of these entities, that when the Auditor General releases his reports, there should be a thorough implementation of the audit findings. Because what we realized was that a lot of the issues that were in the 2021 audit report were reports which were issues that were in 3, 4, 5 years, sometimes some going as far back as 10 years or more. The challenge is if these issues are not resolved, they will keep appearing in your audit report, which makes you look bad, which makes the government look bad, and which gives us a false sense of impression that people are misappropriating money when in actual fact they are not. So I think governing boards should also be taxed that when these audit findings come up, they make it their duty to implement them. They just sometimes also look away.
Receiving the report on behalf of the President, the Chief of Staff, Akufo-Addo, reaffirmed the President's firm support for the SOE sector. Mrs. Osei-Opare said the non-compliance with financial reports requirements was a major problem associated with the entities, adding that all state-owned enterprises were required to mainstream the recommendations in the report in their activities.
The government remains committed to finding lasting solutions to the problem of non-compliance with financial reporting requirements. As such, all SOEs are expected to mainstream appropriate implementation measures to carry out the recommendations detailed in this report. Thus, the government expects all SOEs to ensure the following. prioritize the preparation of their respective management and audited accounts in a timely manner, to collaborate with SIGA and the Office of the Auditor General to urgently clear the backlog of unaudited accounts by the end of the year, to prepare management responses to audit queries and red flags raised by auditors. Lastly but not the least, keep an updated asset register and land title registrations at all times. I also urge you to develop the asset revaluation policies and subsequently implement them to meet best accounting practices. I am confident that with effective collaboration and the implementation of these recommendations will see the public sector assume its envisaged role as the bedrock of Ghana's economy, even surpassing the envisaged target of contributing 30% of the GDP of this country. I want to, at this stage, again acknowledge the hard work and the diligent way in which you approach the charge by the President to look into these infractions and to ensure that we have recommendations that can be implemented and move these SOEs forward.
On his part, the Minister of Public Enterprises, Joseph Kujo, instructed all board members, management and other key stakeholders to take the report's findings seriously.
Permit me to remark that public discussions of these infractions, irregularities and control weaknesses, since they've been monitored by the Auditor General report, give indication of corrupt cases. And when I listened to public discourse on this matter, and they mentioned the amount 17.48 billion cited, they make it sound like it's corruption, stolen money, and so on. I take this opportunity to state clearly that it is not all that is a case of corruption. In fact, cases of corruption are just minimal. They are compliance issues. The compliance with the law, compliance with regulations, and how to do things right, which is the hallmark of the President. And that is why we take this issue seriously. And so as we discuss them, we should know that a lot of the cases are just non-compliance to what procedures and laws and regulations say, and not necessarily corruption issue. In conclusion, it is worth noting that the President has great expectation of us. As you already know, government expectation of the SOE sector is for them to operate profitably and efficiently, as the case may be. I'm confident that with discipline and diligence of work towards the discharge of our responsibilities owed to the shareholder, we will be able to attain the President's vision for the specified entities.